I think the Yankees should be sellers. I know Yankee fans are probably going to attack me and say, how could you say that? The Yankees are still a good team. They're going to probably make the playoffs. The American League is just awful. The Yankees aren't going to win this year, no matter who they bring in. Look, they have Devin Williams. Devin Williams has played better since the beginning of the season. But are the Yankees going to re-sign Devin Williams in the offseason after what we've seen so far in the first half of the season? The answer would be no. Now you're talking about Mason Miller. Sounds like a very good pitcher, young, relief pitcher, has tremendous stuff. Okay, you bring him in. Is he going to be the only player that you're going to need to take that step forward? If the Yankees are coming out and saying they're not adding another bat, that's scary.
Especially from the A's. You would think they would want to add a bat from them.
They're saying they're not going to add another bat. So them finishing off and adding the players that they've added over the last couple of days is enough for the Yankees to say that that's enough? Austin Slater? That guy's a backup player.
Yeah.
He's not a starter. Ahmed Rosario is a backup player. McMahon is the only guy that the Yankees are going to have who's going to be starting every single game as long as he's healthy at third base. Now, if they're expecting Aaron Judge to play in the outfield moving forward, I don't think so. I know he doesn't have a tear in his UCL, but usually when you hear an injury like this, it usually means that eventually he's going to have surgery. And Aaron Judge, you're going to protect your asset. This is the best player in the league. This guy's breaking records. This guy, before he got hurt, was the MVP of the whole league. It's scary when you think about it, where everybody keeps saying the Yankees, the Yankees, the Yankees. We are buyers. We're not sellers. The Yankees aren't winning anything, boys. They have Garrett Cole coming back next year. Carlos Rodon's having a good year, finally, after all the money the Yankees are paying him. Max Fried, who's been sensational in the first half, has not been as good, maybe because of the blister problem. He pitched well the other day, still gave up 4 runs. And then you have a guy like Luis Hill, who is going to be back in weeks, maybe in a week. You have 4 guys. And then Clark Schmidt, who's again out for the season. This is a team that's going to have a good rotation next year. They should be looking towards next year. Well, what does that tell you? Maybe Aaron Boone's not back. Maybe Brian Cashman steps down. Maybe the Yankees look to another manager, another GM. I don't know. Now, as long as Hal's running that organization, I think Brian is going to be there, as far as I'm concerned. Now, there are stories coming out about a year ago that the Yankees and the Steinbrenner family was thinking about maybe selling the team. Now, I don't know if that story is true. As we've seen the Lakers, who would have thought that the Buzz family was ever going to sell the Lakers? And then they sell the Lakers for $10 billion. Right? It was $10 billion?
Yep.
So, I mean, there's no crazy story about this. The fact that the Yankees and Hal Steinbrenner, remember, George Steinbrenner bought the Yankees for $10 million. The Yankees, if they're sold, they're probably going to be sold for $12 billion. Yeah. The Lakers were sold for 10. The Yankees are probably going to be sold for 12. The only team that's probably worth more is the Cowboys.
But Jerry Jones will never sell.
The thought here and the process here is the Yankees are the Yankees. My process here for the Yankees is they're just not going to cut it this year. If honestly, and I've talked to Fish off air, he says Bellinger's having a great year. The Yankees got to re-sign him. Why? Trade Bellinger. He is a free agent. If he wants to come back to the Yankees in the offseason, he can. Trade him to a team that needs a bat. He's batting .280. I was looking at his numbers. I'll take back what I said about his season, but in the first half of the season, he wasn't playing well. Now he's starting to hit. Over the last, I would say, 4 or 5 weeks, he's been one of the hotter hitters for the Yankees. Giancarlo Stanton. If you can move him right now, which he has a no trade clause, I'd move him. But I think the Yankees are going to have him for one more year next year, and then they'll have one more year in a club option. I think the Yankees will either buy out his contract or talk to John and tell him, like, listen, we can move you wherever you want to go. Pick a team, and we'll trade you there, and we'll get some assets for it. Right now, the Yankees are not winning. To me, there's only 3 teams that could win the World Series from the American League. You know those teams are? The Astros, Detroit Tigers, and the Toronto Blue Jays. Those are the 3 teams right now. If you were to ask me, are the favorites of coming out of the American League and challenging one of those National League teams?
I love this time of year because it's all speculation. What do they need? Are they going to do it? It's funny because I'm updating on here and just, listen to everybody talk. And it's, of course, we're going to get all those guys back, like you said, Errol, and it's going to be, cash from that side. Be like, oh, that's like getting somebody at the deadline and blah, blah, blah. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, Bednar wouldn't be bad, but as I'm reading as it's going, like every time, like Helsley who came off, now the back end leverage guys now are going to be asking more because now you're taking those guys off. So it's going to kind of be what they're willing to give up and what they're willing to hold on to. And is it worth, like you're saying, sellers? Is that kind of, do they want to like push all their eggs in that basket, or do they want to like give and take? I don't know that.
Sell off two players. Devin Williams, you're not bringing him back, and Bellinger. If Bellinger wants to come back next year, you re-sign him, let him go to another team and try to win a World Series and get prospects. Bellinger's having a good year. Teams would actually offer at least two decent prospects. The Yankees farm system is ranked 28th right now in baseball. To me, if I'm a Yankee GM, I'm Brian Cashman, or I'm any GM, I'm not trading away any of my young prospects. What I'm doing is I am going to trade off assets that I know that if need be next year, I still have assets in my farm system that I can call up because they're quality assets. All we know with the Yankees is there's one guy right now that's crushing it in AAA, and he's not even in the top 100 right now. And Brian Cashman's thinking about moving him. There were stories coming out in the last 24 to 48 hours that the Yankees want to move Spencer Jones. They would be absolutely out of their minds if they did that.
Yeah, they would only do that in a package deal for like a big name.
I wouldn't do that, period.
Yeah, you're only going to get older players.
You're either going for a top-tier closer, right? And maybe they do include like a Luke Weaver or a Williams because they could easily both be.
I don't think they would have
next
to do that to get Bednar. I think you could do it for less.
Well, that's not a top-tier closer.
No, I know
mean,
that.
Bednar. So I would say Bednar and Jansen would probably come off the board after Bednar. He's closing for the Angels right now. They don't need a closer. They're not going anywhere. So I would imagine those two guys are going to get moved before the deadline. Mason Miller's the big, talented guy on a team that's not going anywhere. I don't know how long the A's are going to be like, yeah, we'll just keep a closer on a team that's not winning when we can get a ton of stuff and we need a ton of stuff. The Yankees aren't going to do the smart thing. The smart thing, would be, try to get guys for long-term contracts if you're going to get anybody and try to get rid of your rentals. You're absolutely right. That'd be the smart thing to do.
Farm system, which the Yankees
but that's not
have
the Yankees.
Nothing. They really don't. What do they
that's
have?
just been the problem forever, right? It's been a problem because we mortgage the future for today.
Hold on one second. What was it? 2 years ago, the Yankees were ranked in the top 10 when it came to farm systems. For years, the Yankees have been there. They just haven't drafted very well, and they've traded away pieces for older players because the Yankees thought they can make a run. And now some of those players don't pan out. And I know everybody says they're prospects. Jabba says it best all the time. Prospects are prospects. Players are players. Dudes are dudes, as he says. So, to me, I think you can't – we don't know what Spencer Jones is going to be, but I do believe Spencer Jones is special. So what are the Yankees going to do? They're going to trade away a special player. And even though – I'll say this about the Yankees. They've had guys that we thought were going to be special. They traded away and they were garbage. Ask the Marlins. They've had a couple of those players.
Nobody said they were the brightest either, though.
I'm just saying. I remember
they've had some ones go the other way though too.
Yes,
So
100%.
I have a solution for the Yankees though. The Yankees, if they're I think Bellinger's done well. I hope they try to re-sign him if they're going to keep him, which it looks like they're going to do. I'm sure he'll get plenty of money, Boris guy. But they'll have the Yankees over a barrel. They should move Dominguez. To me, that's the guy who's a little overhyped. His defense is not good enough to play left field at Yankee Stadium. I think he's going to be a good player, but if you have a bunch of issues with left field. If Judge can't play in the outfield, you got to put Stanton somewhere, right? You're going to have to do something about left field, and you need a shortstop. I'm sorry, but
right.
Volpe is a problem.
I got a question for you. You sign Bellinger, right? You bring him back. Do you move him to first base, and then you go after Kyle Tucker? Because you need you need bats in this lineup.
I think that's the luxury of having him. It's like you can go hunt for Kyle Tucker. If it pans out, move Bellinger to first. If it doesn't, keep him in the outfield.
They don't have enough prospects to say, hey, you know what? We could bring this guy up. I mean, obviously Spencer Jones, and maybe they move Spencer Jones to first base in the long run because some people say, hey, he's a decent outfielder, but he'd be better in the infield because of his size and his ability to take up space. I do believe you move back. If you're going to bring Bellinger back and you think that he's going to be there for a while and you think being that he's 29 years old, he's got a lot of baseball left, move him to first base. Goldschmidt, you don't bring back next year. And then you go after Kyle Tucker. Because, again, if you think Spencer Jones is not going to be ready next year or won't be ready till the second half of the season, they cannot go into the season, even with this pitching staff, as good as it seems to be, go into with this roster. Jazz Chisholm, okay? And you have Volpe as your shortstop. And that's another thing the Yankees got to figure out in the offseason. What are they doing with that shortstop position? Because I don't want to see Pereza. I don't want to see Volpe there next year. Who's the other kid? Jabba, you say Lombard? What's this guy that?
Yeah, George. George Lombard Jr.
Lombard. Yeah. So he's a guy that could play multiple positions on the infield. Maybe you bring him up and see what he has. But I don't know if you bring up I don't think you bring up a young player and put him in that position where he could fail. What you need to do is bring in a veteran defensive player that can give you decent at-bats. Because the Yankees, let's be honest, look at the Yankees roster right now. Who's hitting? You got Chisholm. He's been pretty good. Bellinger and Judge is out. Giancarlo. Everybody else. Austin Wells up and down. Goldschmidt up and down. They get no offense from the shortstop position. What are they getting from center field? Up and down with Dominguez. I mean, there's not enough. This is the Bronx Bombers, and they're not getting enough offense. Scary. Think about this. The Yankees have always been known for their power in their offense. This year, not really.
Spencer Jones is back from back spasms. He went 2 for 4 in his first game, and he's for 3 right now.
Dude, I love Spencer Jones.
Move Dominguez and make room for Spencer Jones. Right now they play the same position.
I don't hate that. What do you have to lose? I mean, yeah, Dominguez can run a little bit better, but you're not going to lose anything in the outfield. You're going to gain a little bit of juice by just pure luck and what he does. I don't hate that at all.
You might get a lot for Dominguez and Volpe in a deal. You might get a really good player and an arm for the team. You know, like at least a bullpen arm. I think that there's something there. Volpe might just need a change of scenery, and Dominguez, I think you cash in on the overhyped guy that's clogging up possibly a better player.